each week we will discuss social issues that are also developmentally relevant. Data would have us to know that in 2009, a record 3 million people lost their homes to foreclosure. This is especially disconcerting to someone like myself, who in 2006 also lost her home to foreclosure because of a shiesty real estate broker. Today at the table with me is Tammy Moore. She's been in the real estate industry for over 10 years. She's a great real estate agent. She's good at what she does. And she's going to help us to understand who's ready to buy a home and also what you can do if you're in the process of potentially losing your home. Hi, Tammy, and welcome to At the Table.
Thanks for inviting me. I'm really pleased to be here.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
So let's get right down to it. How long have you been in real estate, and what's your capacity in real estate currently?
I've been in real estate now for 10 years. For the last 4 years, I have been a real estate agent. Currently, I'm doing residential and commercial leasing, buying, and selling.
Okay, and I want to know, what is the truth of the matter? Some say it's a good time to buy. Some say no, rent. In your expert opinion, what would you suggest to our audience?
I suggest if you have your credit in order, if you have the 3.5% or 3% it is as for down payment, please purchase a home. The values are low right now. You can possibly get a loan if your credit is in order. So it doesn't make sense to rent when renting is equal or even higher than what your mortgage payment will be. So I always suggest people, please buy.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, there are people who took your advice and
Yes.
they bought.
Yes.
But unfortunately, data gives us to know that a great number of those people are now experiencing foreclosures. They are losing their homes or are in jeopardy of losing their homes.
Okay.
What do we say to the individual who's watching us right now? You've either gotten the letter and you just aren't sure what to do, or you know you 3 or 4 months behind and the letter is coming and you're sitting there feeling really, really overwhelmed and don't know what to do. What's your suggestion to that person?
Well, there are a lot of offers out there and programs that banks offer. You need to call your banking institution that you have your mortgage with. Please work something out with them. They are really, really there to help you. Right now, the big push is for modifications. If you do not qualify for a modification, there are other programs that your bank offer, but you won't know unless you call them. So please call them and ask them what do they have that will fit what your situation is.
And what I would like to say on the heels of that is, listen, please do not sit there and just cry and think that your crying is going to wipe this thing away. It is not. While I understand that it's overwhelming, I also know from personal experience that until you do something, nothing will happen. You are not in this situation as an isolated person. It has happened to many people prior to you. It's going to happen to many people after you. But what you have to do right now, after you finish watching us, is go in the room, get some courage, pick up the phone and call your bank and say, what can I do to either avoid this, or what can I do next?
Absolutely.
So that's the person who's in foreclosure. Now let's talk about the person who's a first-time buyer.
Okay.
What do we want to say to them to prepare to purchase their new home?
Well, what you need to do first is please contact an agent and get pre-approved through a broker or a loan officer. Very, very important. We do not want people out there searching for homes and they're not approved. You have to be ready and able to purchase a home. Okay. Once you do get pre-approved, if the lending officer say you can only afford $600,000, that does not mean you should go to your max $600,000.
Amen.
It does not mean that. So at some point you need to sit down, do a budget, and find out what's comfortable for you.
Yes.
And please communicate that with your agent. Mm-hmm. You know, if you tell your agent, I may be approved for $600,000, but I don't want to go $600,000.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Because as agents, we don't know. We thinking you want to go that high. Okay.
Right.
So if you don't and you're not comfortable at that limit, please let your agent know.
Because the part of comfortable and the
Yes.
part of affordability is just not the price tag on the house.
Absolutely.
There's also the bills that come along with having the house
They
that
are
has
other
to be
expenses.
factored in.
Yes, they are other expenses that come with managing your home.
Yes.
That's a regular maintenance on your HVAC system. If something happens with your roof, you never know. Mowing the lawn, you may not be able to mow your lawn, so you may have to hire somebody to do that. So there are certainly other expenses that come with owning a home. So you would certainly have to factor those things in.
And don't go out here buying a house because your friends buying a house, or
That's
your
true.
family say you should be buying a house,
That's
or
true.
even because CNN says it's a good time to buy your house.
That's true.
Tammy said do a budget. Know what you can afford.
Absolutely.
Because the worst thing you can do is buy a house based on what someone else says, and then all them other folk aren't there when it's time for you to really, really deal with those bills and those
Absolutely.
payments as they're coming through the
Absolutely.
door.
And we've noticed too that a lot of people are going through short sale.
Okay.
And the short sale process is where you owe more on your house than what it's worth.
Okay.
Banks are also negotiating with short sales. And I've noticed with Bank of America and Wells Fargo, from my own personal experience, they're asking agents to step in and help homeowners
Wow.
with that process.
Wow.
So, you know, our capacity as real estate agents are really changing from just helping you with the contract. We are also helping with that foreclosure process.
Amen.
So if you are going through a foreclosure or a short sale or you don't know the process and you need help, please contact someone who is familiar with that process. Will probably be your local real estate agent, or call me. And I'll give you my information at the end.
Let's help people to kind of dispel some of the misconceptions or the myths about purchasing a home.
Right.
What would you say are some of the biggest misconceptions people have, particularly first-time home buyers who are very eager and excited? They see that favorite house. What do you think are some of the misconceptions people have?
That they can afford it.
How about that, right?
The biggest misconception is they can afford it. Again, please do your budget.
Yeah.
You know, do your budget, because the loan officers say that, as I said before, you can afford $600 does not mean that. Do a budget. Make sure that it's within your comfort level, and at that point, you can decide whether you want to go forward or not. Because it looks pretty, you may have to wait for that pretty house.
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely.
You may have to.
Here are some of Tammy's tips for buyers. Get pre-approved, know your budget, consult with an expert. Some of Tammy's tips for sellers are: clean your home, declutter your home, remove pets and pet odors. Tammy, thanks so much for all the good advice.
You're welcome. I'm just so happy to be here.
Listen, you all have heard from the expert herself. I would really, really ask that you govern yourself accordingly. And if not Tammy, then please make sure you talk to somebody who is well versed in this whole idea of purchasing and the whole idea of selling, whether it's a short sale or even if you're going through a foreclosure. And speaking of contacting someone, Tammy, what's a way that people can directly connect with you?
I'm with Exit Preferred Realty. You can reach me at 410-908-9825, and that is my direct number.
Okay.
Again, it's 410-908-9825.
To those of you who are in foreclosure, let me say to you, it is not the end of the world. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. I've shared with you that in 2006 I lost my home to foreclosure. Tammy has shared that she too has lost a home to foreclosure.
Yes.
You will be okay. What you cannot do is sit around and sulk and whine and just go into this place of depression. I know that your house is precious to you. Mine was precious to me. Trust me, I cried and thought I was going to lose my little mind because the pain was so great. But I will tell you, I went from a 428 credit score when I lost my home to a credit score that's now in the 700s. Why? Because I made a commitment to do some things differently and to make some different decisions that would allow me to reposition myself to ultimately have the home that I want to have. So be encouraged.
Absolutely.
Look forward to speaking to you next week. In the meantime, remember that greatness is your birthright. Therefore, you need no one's permission or approval to be great.